Hey team, welcome to our weekly Monday night huddle. I'm Amber Ike, and I am just really excited about this week. We have a really special guest, one of my great friends down in this area, Sarah Taylor. She just promoted to Diamond the end of November, which for some reason the end of November feels like 10 years ago. It's like we're already like so quick into December that it seems like a long time ago. But I'm just really excited. She is going to share some of her journey and just some tips and her perspective on things. And so I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to her, and then we'll have time for some questions at the end. So Sarah, take it away, girl.
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you guys for having me. Really appreciate it. I've enjoyed working with Amber for the last couple of years now, kind of sidelining together and exchanging ideas. But I guess I'll just kind of start with kind of who I am and my background a little bit so you guys know. I live in the Spring area, obviously, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. I didn't start the business for the business aspect. I actually started it as a wholesale ambassador, just trying to get a little bit better deal on the products because my husband, um, quite frankly, didn't want to pay the prices. He wanted me to get it for a little bit cheaper. He's a financial advisor for JP Morgan. And we have two little kids. I have a 3-year-old. He just turned 3 this weekend, and a 5-year-old. So I'm definitely busy outside of Plexus as well, but I've been doing this now last month was my 20th month, and I guess I'll just kind of run through how my journey went. Obviously, I told you guys that I started as a wholesale ambassador, and so I didn't hit the ground running as far as the business went, but as soon as I decided to start making this a business, or actually promoting it and that sort of thing. One of the biggest things that I think helped me is that I truly viewed this as a business from day one. I didn't treat this as a hobby or anything like that. Once I decided to kind of jump in, I really went all in. And the reason I decided to jump in is I actually went to the Opportunity of a Lifetime tour. I think it was in March. I had just joined a couple weeks earlier, like 2 weeks previous to that. And I went to the Opportunity of a Lifetime tour, and I got really inspired. My mom's a nutritionist, and I had already done all of the research on the products because nutrition had always been really important to me. So I'd already had that kind of belief and background in the products, but I have to admit I was pretty much a network marketing snob, so I didn't have a whole lot of belief in the business side of things. I honestly thought that network marketing was something that only a couple people could achieve, and you would never really make it to the top and that kind of thing. So I really had these like blinders on as far as that went. But when I went to the the Opportunity of a Lifetime event, it really kind of opened my eyes because I talked to a few people there, obviously listened to the testimonies and that sort of thing. But it really opened my eyes to the fact that these were real people. These were teachers that were making these crazy salaries and that were having success. There was nothing that separated them from me, if that makes sense. Like they had nothing that I didn't have. And so just seeing that those real life people that they had achieved Diamond or they had achieved Emerald, and listening to their stories and just having myself sit back and be like, okay, what's different between them and me? I can do this. If they can do this, I can do this. And so at that point, it's kind of when I decided I just made a choice. I decided to start doing it, and I decided to go at this and treat this like a business from that point on. And so that's what I did. I started researching everything that there was about network marketing. I read lots and lots of books. I sacrificed TV time at night, which isn't a huge sacrifice, to be honest. But I sat down, and every night, instead of watching, I used to have these horrible Bravo guilty pleasures watching, E! And Bravo and all those horrible shows at night. I stopped doing that, and I actually started reading network marketing books, and I started researching Candida, and I started researching, more and more about the product so I could get better at that. But really what I was researching was the network marketing side, how to have success within this business. And so I really focused on growth, personal growth, and understanding of the business that first month. I really dove into what other people like Sarah Robbins were doing to have success. I watched lots and lots of training videos. I would go to the gym and I would stick my headphones in and I would listen to training calls while I would run on the treadmill or while I would bike or what have you. So I spent very, very focused effort kind of soaking everything in, and it was a daily thing for me. It was part of my daily method of operation. I didn't take time away from my kids to do those things, but what I took time away was free time, where normally I would zone out if I was working out. I would just sit and watch whatever show they had on TV at the gym, and then I just kind of replaced that time for myself, and really I was really interested in it. So it didn't seem like a task. Like I had made this decision that I wanted to do this. So I turned it into something that, it was interesting to me. I was trying to figure this all out. And so when you start doing that, and you start really researching the products more in depth and understanding diabetes and just all the things that, go within this industry, and start really understanding all the little ins and outs of this, your passion and your belief grows in the efficacy of this business of Plexus. So my belief was really, really strong kind of throughout that first month, really building. I ended up having to kind of sell my husband on it somewhat, but he was one of my largest encouragers in the beginning as well. He researched the comp plan himself, and him being a financial advisor, he decided, it was because he didn't want us to get involved in something that was going to end up sending us to the poorhouse either, because we were kind of riding this thin thread of being okay financially, but not being great. And so that was a big concern of us too. So both of us ended up, by the end of the first, 30 days or so, we were very much all in. So I ended up signing him up at the end of that first month. I had a really great first month. I had a lot of buy-in from my friends. I was pretty bold though with the business that first month that I decided to promote it. I made a concerted effort to reach out to all of my friends that I thought would be really good at this business. And I physically called them up. Like I picked up the phone, I dialed, and I told them about the business, told them why I was really interested in this business, what I loved about the products, what I loved about the business comp plan and what the business model and everything, and what I loved and why I believed in this company. And I think that because of my passion and I was very concise. I was very convicted. I was very matter of fact that this was going to be a good opportunity for them. So I think that passion, that conviction came through. So I actually ended up closing that first month out with 18 ambassadors on my team. They were not all personally sponsored by me, but that's where my first month ended. And so we went into the second month. Like I said, I signed my husband up, and things just started going back to back, boom, boom, boom. I went silver, then senior, then gold, then senior gold. Skipped a month, then went ruby. And that when I hit ruby. That's kind of where everything just kind of fell apart. And, I say that, and I want to be honest with you guys that not every journey, you may look at me now and say, okay, she hit diamond. Her journey was flawless. Like, look at her. She did it so quickly, whatever. Never, ever compare your middle or your beginning to somebody else's end, because you don't know what they have been through to get to where they are now. So when I say my business fell apart, I don't know what happened. I was doing everything the same that I had done all along, but all of a sudden everything started falling apart. I started having crazy amounts of attrition. We weren't adding anybody. We had been adding people at a pretty steady clip for a while there. And we got to the point where we added 7 people in a month. And at that point, I'm Ruby. So my team is pretty big. We should be adding a lot more than 7 people in an entire month. when your team gets to that size. I think I had about 200 people on my team at that point. So to add just 7 people was eye-opening to me. I lost Ruby, and I went back to senior gold as far as my points went. And that was a really, really scary moment for me. It made me question kind of everything, that the way I had been running my business. And I'm not going to lie, I started comparing. I started playing the blame game in my head, not openly, but, I was trying to just transfer blame onto anybody else. This couldn't possibly be, my fault. And then I had a couple really good conversations with my husband, and I was like, what if this just isn't for me? Like, what if this just isn't something that I should be doing going forward? Maybe I'm not good at it. And we both sat down and were like, okay, well, where are we going wrong with this? Why are we struggling so much? Where did this backpedaling come from, out of the blue seemingly? And what I realized was that I had really spent a lot of time developing myself, but I had not spent a lot of time developing anyone on my team. I was assuming that everybody on my team was going to be doing the same things that I was doing in their spare time, and working the way that I was, and that if I would just model momentum and model, somebody that's signing a whole bunch of level 1s and that sort of thing and having great sales, that they would just kind of emulate what I was doing. But I wasn't actually transferring any knowledge to anybody. And I wasn't being a leader, so to speak, in the sense of other than just, being an example to my team. I wasn't being a true leader to them. I wasn't being a true mentor. And I wasn't pushing the business forward. And so once I kind of came to that realization that it was actually my fault, that I wasn't being the leader that my team deserved, I started getting creative. So I spent the next 5 months trying to figure out how to get my team to start moving forward again. And I showed up to literally every single opportunity meeting I could go to. I was at every event that I could find. I sought out every training call that there was, and every leadership training and book. Like, once I kind of realized where my faults lied and where my where my weaknesses were, which was teaching, and it was true leadership. Those 2 things is what I spent the next, those 5 months trying to figure out how I could duplicate to my team, how I could transfer that knowledge that I had picked up, and how I could make it super easy for my team. And so many light bulb moments went off during that time. And I'll tell you, there were so many times that I wanted to quit and I wanted to just throw in the towel because it would have been a lot easier. But had I quit at that point, I never would have I wouldn't be where I was at today. I would have quit at senior gold, essentially. And I would never be here. So some of the things that really helped me in that time frame to kind of turn my team around was, I stayed present throughout everything. I started setting goals for myself that I essentially refused to not hit. Like, these were goals that I was like, I don't care what's going to happen, I'm going to do them. So for my personal growth, that remained constant. I've always been a very, very driven person. But then from a team perspective, what I did with my team was I sectioned everybody off into little groups. I put everybody into different message threads and different little focus groups. And I talked to them one-on-one, and I created a kind of a meeting of the minds with some of my leaders on my team. And I sat down with them, and I was like, look, I'm not, this isn't Team Sarah. This is all of our teams, and we need to figure out how to turn this thing around and how to move our teams forward. We need to figure out what we're all doing wrong and how all of us collectively can start moving this forward. And so daily we would have discussions on how to get the team moving, and we would all get on the same page, and every initiative that we had, we would push out as a group of leaders. So literally, like, these were my girls. We were holding hands daily, and not one of us, it wasn't me, it was all of us were the leaders of this team. They were kind of like the behind the scenes leaders, but we were all getting like figuring out these ideas ourselves, whatever initiative we were going to do, whether it was going to be like a training boot camp, contest ideas, generally anything that you're going to put on the team page, how we're going to market that month. We would develop marketing plans for that month and figure out how we're going to move things forward that way too, just how you're going to market to Facebook, everything. And then we also developed little groups on our team as well for people aiming for silver, people aiming for gold, and then people aiming for senior gold and higher. And so we had those side groups as well. And when I say groups, they weren't, they're message threads. They weren't actual groups on Facebook, but message threads so that everybody was involved in the conversation. And one of the biggest things I did too during that time was, once I had realized that I hadn't truly been pouring into each and every person, I set up a training call with every single one of my level ones that didn't live in Houston. And I would spend 30 to 45 minutes with them on a call and figure out how I could help them move their business forward, where they were struggling, where their strengths and weaknesses were, and how we could start jumpstart their business again, and basically pour belief into them and treat them as a partner. And then the ones that were local, I took them out each individually to a happy hour, or had a glass of wine with them over at my house, or took them to dinner. Just spent, I invested my time investment with each of my level ones was probably the biggest sacrifice that I made during that time. But it paid off tenfold, because number one, I built a relationship with those people. Those people became my friends if they weren't necessarily close to me beforehand. If they were already my friends, we really, really worked on that business partnership aspect of this. And each one of them, we got on board, and we worked really, really hard to create a team culture, I guess would probably be the right word, of everybody helping everybody moving everybody forward as a whole. It was this whole team Taylor, we're all going forward as one. We're all going to rank this month. We're all going to do this. You'll see on my team, we'll have a dormant month where not very many people rank. And then all of a sudden we'll have 60 plus people ranking. Literally everybody on the team ranks at once. We all are just moving each other forward at the same clip. And it's really become this really big team culture of starting fast. Everybody on the team, we've had, I think, 12 fast start golds in the last 6 months. So everybody just starts it's just part of the team culture. There's so much belief, so much passion, and so much camaraderie excuse me, on that page. It's absolutely incredible. And these girls work hard to push each other forward. So they'll hold you accountable for goals. They won't just take in October, for instance, when everything happened with the back office, we're like, nope, this is not going to bring us down. We're not. And we've just sit and collectively as a group, kind of like a meeting of the minds, like I said earlier, and figure out how to get around these kind of issues as a group. So it's a really big, and I can't say enough how much of a team atmosphere it is, but it's been a very concerted effort in making that. And I know that sounds like a lot of work, but really and truly all it is building relationships with your team, pouring belief into them, and making sure that they know that you're there for them 100%. You want this for them as much as you want it for yourself. And it's kind of more of a servant mentality leadership, but that's being transferred down. Now, aside from that, I also, myself and the other leaders on the team, created a lot of documents on our team page to where it's basically foolproof when you first start, all the information that you're sending out to people, whether they're emails because somebody's asking to tell them about the ambassador program, whether it's asking to learn about the products, or a welcome email. We have example emails and example verbiage for everybody to use for basically every situation that you would need. Not everybody uses it, but those that need it, it's there, and they can tweak it if they want. So there's a lot of duplication from that standpoint, a lot of transparency. Anything that I do and I am doing with a prospect or something like that, I'm very transparent. I screenshot it out to whomever it's appropriate to and say, hey, this just worked for me. You guys, if you want to use this. Another huge initiative that we did as well was lots and lots of three-way calls. So what I mean by that is when somebody would first join on their first day, we would encourage them to take a selfie picture with their pink drink, post it to their wall, or make a first post of some sort. Selfie was really, really easy to get people to do because then they didn't have to say they were selling. They could just say like, hey, I'm drinking my pink drink. They would post it, and then they would get, of course, people asking, what is that? Or, they would get a couple responses. And so what we had them do when they would get those initial responses is put them into a message thread and say, hey, you know what? You just saw that I just made my first post. So obviously I don't know a whole lot about Plexus. So I'm going to add in Sarah or whoever their upline is, and they're going to help me talk to you because I want to give you the right information. I don't want to lead you the wrong way. I want you to have a good, solid understanding of what Plexus is. And there was no salesy, anything that happened within that three-way chat. But what we did do is it taught them which questions to ask. It taught them how to speak to potentials, and it taught them how to overcome objections from day one. And so that's how we get so many people fast starting, because we make it less scary. There's that belief there that they can do it. They are not terrified that they're going to have to answer all these questions or figure out what questions to ask themselves, because they have the backing of their upline, or they have their backing. Even sidelines have done it for each other. So it's not just, the upline if the upline's not available. But, I say all this because, when we hit those times of falling backwards, it was definitely a pick up your bootstraps moment. There was a lot of thoughts of just quitting. Like I said earlier, there was a lot of thoughts of that, and I'm not going to lie, about that. That thought ran through my head quite a bit, but in the end, I can say coming out on the other side of it, it was all worth it. It was a lot of work. I treating this like a business is absolutely the single, I think, most important thing that I've done. It's not going to just happen in most cases. Some people get lucky and it does, but for the majority of us, it does take a concerted effort. Now, does it take every waking minute of the day? No. I mean, through that whole time, I had my kids, I had, a husband and everything else. But for me, there was a little bit of sacrifice in the evenings when I would say that I would call those people or go out and meet with them. I'll put my kids to bed first and then go do it, So it was maybe like a late night here and there, but I wasn't sacrificing my family time. And I think that's really, really important for most of us. But so through all that, then it took me 6 months, I think, to hit Senior Ruby. And then pretty much, from there I went Emerald, Sapphire, and Diamond pretty much back to back. Pretty much, not after, month on end, but that our momentum never quit after that. And I think that we really set our team up from that point on to just kind of work like a true team. So that's basically my story. One of the biggest things that I just, I want everybody to understand is not to compare. I said that earlier, but do not compare your journey to somebody else's, because you have no idea what has gone on within their journey to get them to where they are. Instead of comparing, if you see somebody that you're like, man, she's doing really, really well, ask them, reach out to them. I encourage you to figure out what they're doing that's working and why, they are seeing momentum, because momentum can absolutely be created, but it starts with you as the individual, starts with you as the leader. Because if you don't have that drive and that passion and that energy that you're bringing to the table, your team is not going to create momentum for you. You're going to drive that momentum for everybody. So that's basically it.
Love that. Thank you so much, Sarah. I love that. And actually, I was going to say this at the beginning and I didn't, but then you mentioned something and you took the phrase right from what I was going to say. And one thing when I think about you as a leader and just you with your Plexus business in general, I just think she showed up. Like, you, no matter what was going on, no matter, you know, I know you guys moved in between and like had things going on with your family and all of that stuff. Like, you showed up. And I think so many times I hear from people on our team, not on our team, and they're like, yeah, life's just really busy right now. I can't, you know, life's always going to be crazy. Life's always going to be busy. There's never going to be the perfect time to do this. And that in and of itself, I think, is more reason why we need to do this now. Because if you don't make changes in your life now, we're never going to have that life that we want. So that's one thing I think of when I think of you, is like, no matter what was going on, you showed up, and that makes the difference, you know? So I love that so much. I'm going to open it up to just unmute yourself if you guys have a question. You can just throw those questions at Sarah, and then I have some from our thread that I'll ask if you guys don't have any off the top of your head right now.
Be nice.
Ask her all the hard ones. Does anyone have any that you want to unmute for? Okay, I'll ask one, and then if you guys have one, unmute yourself. One, and you touched on it at the end, but any tips for those of us that fall victim to comparing our journeys to others? So
yeah, I think
go ahead.
I think the biggest thing is always, because I've definitely done that. I think all of us have done that at one point or another, but it's not allowing that to drag you down. If you do start finding yourself comparing, what I did, Kim Tharp is a good example for me. She was promoting when I was stagnant, and she was promoting quickly. And so I reached out to her and developed a relationship with her, and we developed this sideline partnership. And she kind of really, really helped me on my road to Emerald. She helped me develop some stuff that I would have never thought of. And I think sometimes reaching out to other teams, even outside of Amber's team, is a good thing, because Amber may have one style of leadership, and this isn't anything on her. I tell my team the same thing. She might have one style of leadership, and somebody else on another team may have just a fresh perspective on what's going on, and an outside perspective, a perspective that's not completely tied to your paycheck, to your success. They might be able to give you more objective advice. And so I think if you see something like that happening even within your own team, just reach out and say, wow, like, I think you are rocking it. Can you tell me, you know, why you are? Like, what's going on? What are you doing? Or if you see anything in me that I shouldn't be doing, please tell me, you know? And I think also it starts to be a situation where you need to be teachable, and you need to be coachable, and you need to not be afraid to hear, these are the areas that you're weak in, and let's figure out how to, you know, fix those areas. So definitely that I think comparison can be a healthy thing, but it can also be very, very unhealthy, and you don't want that to be your downfall.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And that's what I love about our company. We literally, I reach out to you all the time, Sarah, and I reach out to other diamonds, and not even diamonds, but just other people that I see things are working for them. And you can reach out to them, because we really are one team. And I know other people are going to reach out to me that aren't on my team, and, you know, just kind of you pay it forward kind of thing. Okay, another question. How do you get people to believe, and you've had 12 people evidently, but how do you get people to believe that they can go fast, start, gold?
So I think the first one, was kind of the icebreaker for us. It kind of made everybody realize, okay, that actually can be done. So how did she do that? And it became, and it's really a simple formula. You would just have to number one, trust in your upline, because they're going to be leading you through that the whole time. But number two, you have to be bold, and you have to be unafraid to to present the business opportunity at the exact same time and with the same passion as you are presenting the products. So having that belief in this business opportunity and figuring out how to talk to people about it. And quite frankly, and this is, I hope I'm not stepping on any toes here, but not being afraid to sign up wholesale ambassadors and then turn those wholesale ambassadors into selling ambassadors. My first Fast Start Gold was Amy Welch, and she was a wholesale ambassador. She didn't even start selling until a week in when she finally decided to actually take the leap. But it's truly about just unwavering belief in your upline, and you as the upline pouring belief into and motivation into your new ambassador. And it's a lot of energy, and it's a lot of talk about Fast Start. So we talk about Fast Start Gold from the very first email that they get in the welcome email, in our training guide. We have every Monday we have new ambassador trainings that we do via Zoom. And in the PowerPoint, it talks about Fast Start. And so we talk about it there and what it takes. And I think it's just become so much a part of our culture. We see it happen so much that other upline ambassadors believe it. The newbie obviously doesn't have any basis of knowledge for it, but it's coming from the upline. The upline is telling them, you can do this. You absolutely can do this, so try. And certainly we have people that try it and fail, but heck, even if they fail, they've got 7 ambassadors on their team in the first month or whatever.
Yeah. And I think it's so funny because I know, well, I didn't start for wholesale. I actually saw the business opportunity from the get-go. But I think so many people join for the wholesale, and like majority of the girls on this Zoom tonight joined for wholesale and then saw, the wheels turning kind of thing. But then we get to a point where we're like, well, we don't want to bug them. We don't want to like bother them or make them sell or whatever. And if you think about it, it's like, okay, we don't want to help our friends get out of debt. Okay, we don't want to help our friends find financial freedom and time freedom. Oh, okay, like we're really awesome friends for keeping this amazing opportunity hidden from them. Like if they don't want it, they don't have to take it, but at least let them know. I was talking to Nikki about that tonight. I was like, what if she would have told me just to be a preferred customer? Like that would not have done anything financially for my family. So it's just, we need to be bolder because if we know what we have, how can we keep it from people,
Well, it's not even about making them sell. It's just, if you have that passion is contagious, and they want to be happy and they want to do something that looks like fun. And I mean, having that just energy about you surrounding Plexus, and that, undeniable passion that you're, transferring over them, that makes them want to start immediately. So that will change wholesale ambassadors into selling ambassadors. And that's a huge key in this business too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just for Fast Start, but.
Yeah. No, I love that. I am a huge fan of wholesale ambassadors because I know majority of the people on our team started for the discount, so I think it's huge for opening that door.
For sure.
Okay, another question. How do you deal with or get past unsupportive friends and family members?
So I think conviction is where that all is. Your conviction and your belief in Plexus has to outweigh their skepticism. And you cannot be in a situation where you're concerned with what other people think. You're not doing this for them, you're doing it for you. And if they don't buy in right away, that's okay. They're not saying no to you, they're saying no to Plexus. And so it's honestly not that big of a deal. I'm telling you what, I still have family members that will not sign up. And I actually just signed my mother-in-law last month. So, and it's, I think everybody has to take their own time to do this, and their own, everybody buys in at a different time. But if you let that sell you out, then that's on you. That's not on them. Like I said in the beginning, your belief, your conviction in this has to be larger than their skepticism.
Mm-hmm. And I love that because timing is literally everything. I'm reading a book right now about following up, and it's not, like you said, they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting the timing of what we're offering right now. And I think about Nikki, our upline, and it's so funny. Like, I remember the month I signed up, she went Emerald, and I remember her sister didn't sign up until that month. And I just think, like, if your own sister is waiting until you hit Emerald, then I mean, it's not you. They're just skeptical about something, you know? So I just think about her, like, her own sister didn't sign up until Emerald. Like, that's huge. Okay, our last question that I have on here, and then you guys can ask yours real quick. I think this has to do with, okay, when you have people sign up for the wholesale and they don't want to turn on, how do you word basically having their backup order in place? Because I think people freak out, like, Plex is going to steal all their money or whatever.
So we don't really give them an option with that. Like, we don't talk to them about being able to turn it on and turn it off. If they ask, obviously we explain it out. But the way we set it up and structure it is that, you know, you want to be consistent on the products. You are going to take a month's worth of products, and you're going to take it over the course of, you know, 30 days. So when you sign up, say you sign up on December 4th, you want to set we have them as soon as they finish the sign up process, which I don't understand why Plexus doesn't have this as part of the sign up process, like for customers, but we have them go in and edit their backup order so that it ships out on January 4th. And that's just part of the way that we describe everything. And we want them, and we have them set it for not conditional, so that it ships to them no matter what, so that they're staying consistent on our product. And we just preach consistency. And we talk about how, and we've even, some of my teams even have them do it 2 or 3 days before their sign up date for the next month, so that they'll get it in early in case there's shipping delays. So we really stress that on the beginning. So we don't have, I mean, obviously we have people that, you know, bug us on it and stuff, but as the general majority, that's the way that we sell the backup order. We don't sell it as, oh, you can try, you know, there's no, like, we don't loosely talk about it like that. Like, you use it as your personal order, and this is how you use it, is how we phrase it.
Awesome. So basically, if you have someone sign up today, which is what, the 7th, you would tell them, hey, when you're signing up, you're going to want to have your backup order set to January 5th or whatever.
Right.
Wow, that is genius. I love that. Well, if you think about it, like, why would we want them to go 3 weeks without products?
Yeah.
That is.
You don't want them to keep it on the 25th, because then they'll be late with their products, and that's the easiest way to sell it. And then, you know, I don't know why they don't have that. I've been trying to bring that up to Plexus, because that's how preferred customers are set up. So I think it should be how ambassadors are set up too.
Well, I love that, actually. I have like a Young Living, I like oils, and so I have a Young Living account, and literally when I go in and place an order, it sets up my next order. I can change the products, but it sets my next order for the following month. So, yeah. Genius. I'm going to start using that. Why have I not figured that one out? Love that. Well, and I think, like you said, it's all about being bold and just knowing what we have and sharing it with people. And I think for a lot of us, we're just like, well, I don't want to assume that they're going to want their products. I don't want to make them feel like I'm trying to sell them something. They're already trying to sign up because they want what we have. They already believe that what we're offering them can help them. So just, you know, share with them the knowledge, and once they're on the products and loving it, they're going to know for themselves, you know?
Yeah, and I think a lot of times too, you end up projecting doubt onto them when you do that, or projecting thoughts that they don't even have onto them, and even unintentionally. So if you just go at it as, they contacted me, or I know they want these, or I know they need these, and just be bold about it and let them give you pushback, then instead of easing into it, that seems to be the best way that we found.
Well, and it builds trust because they know you're not like dancing around the issue, you know?
Right.
I have one more question, and I'll seriously let you guys ask your questions. What are some of your favorite books to read for personal development and all that good stuff?
So I really like the circle maker. If you're religious, I feel like that was a really good one for me. Sarah Robbins, 21. Sorry, I'm saying them in like a weird order, but Sarah Robbins' network marketing book was one of my favorites for just flat out, network marketing. And then strengths-based leadership was a really, really good one and a big eye opener for me. Kind of talked about how to capitalize on your strengths and have your team fill in where you're weak. And then, of course, the 21 Laws of Leadership. I'm running these leadership classes. I think Amber is too. I'm on my second group of leaders right now, but we're doing book studies on that, and it's great. But those are probably my top ones. I really want to read, and I haven't yet, but Daring Greatly. That's next on my list. So
awesome. Sweet. Okay, if you guys have a question, go ahead and unmute yourself, and then we'll stop holding her hostage. Anyone? Oh, there's someone.
I kind of have a question.
Sure.
How do you, after you get somebody, I guess maybe even in the preliminary of getting them signed up, not to make the whole process complicated, and because you just, tell them, go to your website, purchase your welcome pack without making it all so confusing?
So kind of the way I try and use as least words as possible, make it as simple as possible with your words. So I go through the steps, like you're going to go to the website, you're going to click join instead of shop, and then you're going to pick out the welcome pack that we talked about. You're going to pick out your monthly auto ship like we talked about. Then you're going to go through all the prompts and fill it out just like you're purchasing something from Amazon. Put in your first and last name for your website so that people can find you easily with your website, and then click submit. You're done. And then I let them bring up any questions that they have beyond that as they go through the process. I find that if you just if you don't overcomplicate it to them and make it seem super easy, they're going to have less confusion. But as long as you have already explained that auto ship part and the welcome pack, there's really not a whole lot that should, stall them.
So how do you explain the welcome pack then to them before they are jumping into it?
So I always tell them that the welcome pack is the cheapest way to buy product. It's even cheaper than wholesale. So it would be really, really silly for them not to jump on board and buy the welcome pack because if they decide to purchase as wholesale the same amount of products or the same products, they're going to end up spending more. So I always encourage them to take advantage of it. And I just tell them that they have a one-time shot at buying one, so they might as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the times that I definitely use the money as a way to sell it.
Okay.
Does anyone else?
And then what are kind of your steps after they've signed up as far as communicating with them without overbearing them with a whole bunch of information? But if you want somebody to go fast or gold, you need to jump on them right away, right?
Exactly. So what I do is obviously, if they're a wholesale ambassador, I am not quite as bold, but if they're a selling ambassador, then you're like, boom, 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 boom. I always have 2 emails that I send out right away. The first one is if they're a brand new person, it's their product instructions, and I keep that separate from everything else. And then the second email is my welcome to the team email. And it has this document that I made that's ambassador program information. So it goes through and it's attached. So it's not just all this one big long email, but it has all the ins and outs of the ambassador program in it. The second attachment is the picture of the comp plan, that picture that Plexus has. But then the third attachment is a written explanation of the comp plan in real life scenario kind of I can send that to Amber. But then the third one is the income disclosure document. And then usually that's about it in that first, oh, sorry, the biggest one. I wrote up a team tailored training guide, and basically it's your guide for the first 30 days of being an ambassador. And so I send that to wholesale ambassadors, as I send everything equally, but I keep them in 2 separate emails like that for a reason. I don't want to like inundate my wholesale ambassador with crazy amounts of information. But I do say in the text in that second email that if you follow the team tailored training guide to a T, you will have success in the first month. And then I set a phone call with them. I'm like, hey, go over these tonight, tomorrow, whenever I sign them up. I give them about a day and a half to look over everything. I'm like, and I'm going to call you and I'm going to answer questions about this to make sure that you're not lost and confused. And I just kind of talk it through them just like a friend would. I don't make it super professional or anything like that. Like, I just answer questions and make sure that they're not like, what is a backup order again? Just all the basics. And then I always get from them like, look, what are your goals for the first month and what are your expectations? Because a lot of times I found that we've lost ambassadors because they have crazy expectations. They're expecting to make $5,000 their first month or something like that. And clearly that's not going to happen. So you want to make sure that their expectations are aligned with their goals, and talk to them about how much they want to work the business, how little they want to work the business, what they want out of this, so that you both are on the same page. So if they're sitting over there going, I might want a fast start goal, you at least know that, and you can direct them appropriately. If they're over there going, I don't want to do anything with this, like, I don't even want you to contact me again, like, at least you've had that like conversation back and forth, and you can appropriately lead them, over the next couple days and weeks. And you always want to keep the ambassadors that aren't necessarily super interested in making it a business. You want to be respectful of them, but you also want to try and motivate them in their own way. And what I mean by that is, if they from the get-go in that sales process have asked you a lot of questions about price and things like that, that they're money motivated. If their focus has been on the products this whole time, they're really, really product focused. And so you can talk to people about, the income opportunity, or really highlight that every time you talk to them. For those people, as far as those that are product centered, you can talk about the fact that, you're having great results and you love these products. Maybe your mom or your sister would want to, get involved and start taking the products from a customer perspective too. So you just know how to kind of talk to the person a little bit more. I hope that makes sense. I got off the tangent.
That was good.
Sarah, do you set up calls with newbies, like even if they're wholesale beginning, like you just set up a call with every new ambassador?
Everyone. Yeah. Yep. I always try. And it's not a formal call. Like I said, like some of my newbies probably are thinking, well, you didn't set up a call with me. I just called them up. Or I just, like it wasn't like a scheduled formal call. Like,
okay,
you just call them up and say like, hey, I just want to make sure that you have, you're not lost and you've gotten everything that you want, and let's just have a question about what you just got involved in. Let's just have a discussion about what you just got involved in.
I like that, because I think sometimes we make it too formal, and then like you said, you're signing up people that you already have relationships usually. So that's what I love about your team. Like, you really are focused on the relationships, and that's why that's why we join the teams we join, because we have those relationships anyway usually. So we don't want to lose that just because we're all of a sudden in the business together,
Right. Yeah. Don't overcomplicate that part of it. These are definitely friends. So treat them, as such, and you don't have to you don't have to make it super professional and, structured. Just make sure that they have the information that they need.
That's good.
Have a question before we jump off? Anyone else? All right. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for all of your wisdom and encouragement. And I have like 4 pages full of notes. So good for the next couple days until I message you again. Okay. But thank you so much. And I recorded this, so I'll post it on our team page and I'll share it with you guys. And but thank you so much. And
Thank you guys for having me.
yes.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
All right. Night, ladies.
Night.
Bye.